Well, hey guys, I hope that you guys are enjoying these training videos so far. Thank you guys for taking the time out to watch these. These are so important to what we're doing as a student ministry here at Cedar Crest, and we just want to make sure that we're all on the same page and all striving towards the same goal with all of this stuff. And so we're thankful that you guys have taken the time to watch these. John talked about in the last few videos about 4 identities that we want students to know are true of themselves from the time that they come into student ministry until they graduate high school, that we want them to know that there are 4 things that are true of them, and that's that they are family, they are servants, they're disciples, and that they are witnesses. And so those are 4 things that we want them to know are true of them. And so the way that we do that is by the next 5 pieces of this. And so these are called pillars. So these are 5 pillars that are the way that we're going to actually accomplish the goal of the students knowing about those identities and knowing that that's true of them. And so the first pillar that we're going to look at is called life together. Just spending life together, doing life together with our groups and with other believers so that we can go out and accomplish the mission of the gospel. And so we believe that this is super important just for the church. And that's the model that we see in Acts and that we see in the early church of how the gospel spread and how people grew together and how people learned more about who Jesus was and how they fit into this redemptive plan that God has for the world. All of that happened as people spent life together, and they spent time caring for each other, praying for each other, encouraging each other, and then pressing forward in this goal to take the gospel to the ends of the earth. And so we think that this pillar is very important for what we are doing here at Cedar Crest. And John gave this example in Scripture in the last couple of videos. So I'm just going to read through this really quick, just so that we can see this example again. But it's Acts chapter 2, verses 42 through 47. And so this says, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. And so this is, we think, the most important thing that we do here at Cedar Crest as a student ministry, is that we break students into small groups and have them spend time in groups together, working through some of these things, working through Scripture, working through what God's doing in their own life. And so we think that this is vital. And so this is why we appreciate you guys so much, because you guys are giving up your time and coming in to volunteer and help these students through different things that they're struggling with, and just understanding more of Scripture and of the gospel and who they are in Jesus. And so that's why we're so thankful for you guys and so thankful for the time and the energy that you invest into student ministry, because we think that this is extremely vital to our students growing as a believer. And so while there's different aspects of the church that may look different depending on where you're at, whether you look at our church here in Ackworth, Georgia, compared to a church maybe like a secret church somewhere in Asia, or a church that's meeting somewhere in Africa, or even just a different part of the U.S. The way that we do ministry may look a little bit different depending on cultures and where we're at and location and stuff like that. But this is one of the things that's a foundational truth of the church. And so while the way that we do life together may look different than another church somewhere else, the point is that we're all doing life together, that we're spending time together, encouraging each other and praying each other. And so that's why we want to emphasize this so much. And you've probably heard the statistic that anywhere between 60 to 70% of students will, when they graduate, a lot of students leave the faith and they don't continue attending church right when they get into college and stuff like that. And so we want to help that statistic, and we don't want that statistic to be true of Cedar Crest. And so we believe that if we help our students see the value of community, and if we're showing them the importance of community and the way that they can get plugged in and the way that they can continue to have community even after they graduate and starting their own groups or getting plugged in at Cedar Crest, or if they're going away to college at whatever church they choose to attend there, that community is vital, and that's how we continue to grow as believers. And that's the way that we can just do this life, and encouraging each other and lifting each other up to be able to do these things. And so we think that we can change that if we keep this mindset of doing life together and helping students see the value of community. And so on Sunday mornings, that's why both of our services for middle school and high school on Sunday mornings are focused solely on small groups. In the past, we've done our entire service together in 1 hour, and so that includes worship, games, teaching, small groups. Everything happened in that same hour. And so what we were seeing is that we weren't really giving small group leaders enough time in their groups to be able to walk through some of this content and really get to know their students and spend a lot of time with them. And so we want to set you guys up for success as you come in as small group leaders. And as you guys come in to lead students, we want to give you guys time to do exactly that. And so high school made this change last year, and this year both areas will be focused on the same thing. And so that means that Sunday mornings at 10 are high school small groups, and then Sunday mornings at 11:30 are middle school small groups. And so this new structure will help us, we think, help students spend life together and see what it looks like to really live in community, and gives you guys time to really build up that community and build up that trust and those relationships with students. And so the new structure for that on Sunday mornings will be me and John in our respective areas going through a sermon discussion. And so we will basically recap what happens in the main building on Sunday mornings from the previous week. And so we will kind of recap that in about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll give you guys the other 45 minutes to an hour to be in your groups and to be there with your students, working through some of this content, reading scripture together, letting them ask questions and letting them wrestle with some of these things as you guys guide them along the way in that. And so we're really excited for that change, and we think that this is going to be an even better way for us to do small groups, because that way your role isn't reduced to just trying to ask a few questions that we have prepared for you on a Sunday morning and trying to get through those questions as fast as you can because you only have about 15 or 20 minutes in groups. But instead, this will give you guys time to really get to know your students, to spend time together. And if you're in group for an hour and you have anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes of some good discussion and some solid discussion and questions and stuff that are coming up, then that is a huge win, especially if you're with sixth grade. That's such a huge win because you have not only gone through a lot of the content, but you guys have also spent time just building up relationships and just hanging out. And that's just as important for a small group and for you guys as leaders as it is to go through a lot of this content and spend time working through some of that stuff. And so we're so excited for this because we think that you guys have a unique opportunity to really invest in this next generation of leaders, this next generation of Christ followers, and we think that this is going to be the best way to really set you guys up for success with that, because the students in your group right now are going to be students that go on to become business owners or pastors or missionaries or wherever God calls them. And so the time that you're investing in them right now is huge for their development and their discipleship, and that they can carry with them the rest of their lives, because they're not necessarily going to remember what is said from the stage from week to week, but they will remember the time that you guys have invested in them, and they're going to remember how you guys prayed for them and encouraged them and were there for them. And so we think that that's so important, and we think that that this is a great way to set you guys up for success in that. And so we also want to encourage you guys to do this during the week as well. And this can look different. I know that everybody has different schedules, and we have some college and high school students that have a certain schedule, and some of you guys have jobs and families and kids and spouses. And so I know your schedules can kind of get crazy. But one thing that we want to encourage you guys to do is twice during the school year, so just once per semester, is spend time with your students outside of the church building. Because one thing that this does is it shows students that their small group leader is just a person, because I think a lot of times for students, they can see us in here as volunteers and as staff members of a church, and they have kind of this mindset that this is all that we do, and this is just like we're just here at this building all the time, when in reality we all have our own lives. We have different things that God is working in us and doing in us. And so a really good way for students to see that is if they're hanging out with you guys outside of the building. And so this can just be going to sporting events with your students if they're involved in sports, or chorus concerts or band concerts, maybe doing like a movie night or whatever. We want to encourage you guys to do that with them, and so that helps students build up that trust with you guys, and you can build relationships just outside of these walls. And a lot of times that can help break down walls that students have built up in themselves of just being able to trust people and things like that, and that can really open them up because they have a chance to hang out with you guys outside of a structured environment, and then they see that you guys really do care about them because you just want to hang out with them, even if it's not part of a student ministry event. If you have the chance to do that that one-on-one or in a group with them. And so we want to encourage you guys to do that, and that could even be just a group text during the week, and doing that to encourage them or send out stuff for them, or a way for them to send in prayer requests or whatever. So that way, just throughout the week, you're able to talk to each other and things like that, even if you're not able to meet up physically all the time. And so we just want to encourage you guys to do that as you guys show our students what it looks like to really do life together. And then as you do these things, a really great way to recruit help and to show people what's happening in student ministry, and show people that just the incredible stuff that's going on over here, is to invite help into that. If you're doing a movie night, maybe invite some people to help out with that, or showing people that are maybe interested in serving in student ministry, bring them alongside you as you put on some of these mini events, I guess, with your students, and showing them what it looks like to lead in student ministry, and that it's not really as intimidating as it may seem, and you really do get a chance to really invest in this next generation of believers and leaders that are going to be coming through our church and then going out into the world and doing incredible things. So this is a really good way for you to invite people, and they can experience student ministry firsthand and see what all this looks like. And so we just think that building trust is vital for students, especially at this point in their lives, that we think that doing life together is really the best way for you guys to build trust with them, because we think that as you guys spend time with them and just work through different things with them, that you will be able to see how God's working in their life, and you'll be able to guide them in some of the things that are going on. And as they trust you more and as they get to know you more, they'll bring things up to you that they're struggling with. There may be stuff happening at home or whatever that looks like, and you guys will really be able to speak into that because they trust you, they know that you care, and then you're able to speak into those things happening in their life. And so that's the first pillar that we're going to talk through, life together. Stay tuned for the next few pillars that we're going to talk through in these videos.